When you walk into Drexel University College of Medicine today, you'll find a striking display, a network of delicate white fibers arranged in human form, fastened to a blackboard. At the top sits a plump brown brain with a pair of eyes, while below, intricate cords stretch downward, suggesting hands, feet, and the outline of a human body. Some fibers loop at the extremities, almost like fins, while others appear shaggy, resembling electrical impulses shooting from the body's edges. This is Harriet, the world's first complete dissection of a human cerebral spinal nervous system, assembled in 1888. But before those nerves were mounted on display, before they traveled to the 1893 Chicago World's Fair and won a blue ribbon, before they appeared in Life magazine and in countless medical textbooks, these fibers were animated and gave life to a real black woman named Harriet Cole. Records suggest Harriet was a black woman who lived in Philadelphia. Census documents from 1870 show a Harriet Cole, age 25, working as a domestic servant. Hospital records reveal a woman by this name was hospitalized several times over 2 years, including for tuberculosis. A death certificate confirms that a 36-year-old black woman named Harriet Cole died from pulmonary tuberculosis on March 12, 1888, and her body was sent to Hahnemann Medical College a week later. The story is common that Harriet worked as a maid or a scrub woman at Hahnemann Medical College and willfully donated her body to science lacks substantial evidence. In reality, her body likely came to the college through Pennsylvania's Anatomy Act of 1883, which allowed medical schools to claim unclaimed bodies that would otherwise receive public burial. Dr. Rufus B. Weaver, an anatomist at Hahnemann, had long struggled to teach his students about the complex nervous system. When he proposed dissecting an entire human nervous system, his colleagues objected strenuously, believing the project would ruin his sight or cause a breakdown. Undeterred, Weaver selected Harriet's body in spring 1888 and began his work. For up to 10 hours daily in his humid office, Weaver meticulously dissected Harriet's body. He spent 2 weeks working on the base of her skull. To preserve the delicate nerve fibers, he wrapped them in alcohol-soaked gauze that required frequent changing. He left her eyes in place to showcase the optic nerves. After the dissection, which took months, Weaver mounted the nerves using 1,800 pins and coated each filament with lead paint. The result transformed neuroanatomical education. For the first time, medical students and researchers could see the entire human nervous system. Tens of billions of neurons from the brain, some 20 million in the spinal cord, and all the branching pathways that carry messages throughout our bodies. Before Harriet, understanding of this system came from partial specimens and theoretical models. Her nervous system became the foundation upon which generations of physicians built their knowledge. Yet at the time of dissection, no one paid much attention to the woman whose body made this breakthrough possible. The first published references didn't even mention her name. Her name first appeared in print in 1902 as Henrietta, and only became Harriet Cole in documentations from 1915. Her humanity was an afterthought to the scientific achievement. This erasure reflects the troubling history of how black bodies were treated by medical institutions. Throughout the 19th century, medical schools struggled to obtain enough cadavers for study. A shadow economy arose, targeting those with the least social power, primarily black Americans and poor whites, whose bodies were stolen from almshouses, hospitals, and graveyards. Historian Dana Ramey Berry describes how the cadavers of enslaved people held a, quote, ghost value, end quote, a final way to extract work from people no longer living. Even when Pennsylvania passed laws to regulate the acquisition of bodies, exploitation continued. As one researcher observed, Harriet's story sits in the futures between what was legally permissible and what was morally defensible. Quote, can we confirm that she wanted to donate her body to science? No, we cannot, end quote, notes historian David Zimmerman. In 2012, Drexel University's press office characterized Harriet as their, quote, longest serving employee, end quote, an inadvertent acknowledgement that her body has served the institution far longer than she was ever allowed to exist as a complete human being. The woman who contributed so fundamentally to medical understanding has been reduced to a specimen, while the man who dissected her became a celebrated anatomist. When we look at Harriet's nervous system today, we should see both the scientific marvel and the woman it once belonged to, a Black woman who lived in Philadelphia, who felt pain and joy through the same nerves, who died too young from tuberculosis, and whose body in death was used in ways she likely never imagined or would consent to. Her contribution to medicine was immeasurable, but so too was the cost of how it was obtained.